Hey, this is Jeff Guitar. I just picked up this Neural DSP Quad Cortex, and I've been following a bunch of guys on YouTube and figured, that's what YouTube needs is another Quad Cortex video. Anyways, I've always been a fan of Gary Moore, and I noticed a YouTube user, Dav Lav, he made up a patch what he figured would be a nice Gary Moore type of preset. So it's set up as you can see here, in a stomp mode. And he has set it up using 2 amps. And so I basically followed the recipe that he gave us. The first amp is what he used is actually it's a model of a Marshall GTM 45. I used the bright one just because I'm getting a bit older, so I need to hear a bit more brightness. And also he used a Soldano SLO 100, which is the Michael Soldano's super lead overdrive amp. And he used that as an A/B box, and they're both set up to be A/B. And they have 2 separate cabinets. You can see here when I switch between the Soldano and the GTM 45, it actually switches the cabinet as well. I set it up, the Soldano. It's actually, you can see the gain is very, very low. There's a little bit of hiss there. My treble is a bit high. I could probably take some of that down to take away some of the hiss, and I'm going to try to save that there to see if I can mask some of the hiss. But anyways, when I go back into the GTM 45, it's set pretty clean. The gain here is a little bit higher, but then the GTM 45 doesn't have a cascading gain like the Soldano, and this reflects this in the model of this amp. So that's how he has it set up. The cabs are set up kind of interestingly well as well. The first cab is actually a model of the 412 TV cabinet Marshall. I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about. It says they're greenback speakers at 75 hertz. So I guess this is a capture of a specific amp. And then they have I like the Neural DSP cab sims because right out of the box they just sound really, really good. I'm really happy with it. And again, they're set up to switch when I hit my E button here to go between the 2 amps and the 2 cabs. The second cab is based on a 412 with electro voices. So it has a bit more of a bright type of sound, and it has usually a bit more headroom as well if it's modeled properly. I'm not really too sure about this cab yet. I'm gonna play around with it a bit more. But so far I like it. He has it now on his post cab. He has a few things that he's set up, which I followed, and I changed a few little things to make it my own. And it took me about an hour and a half to sort of copy Dav's preset. I just sort of looked at it online on his YouTube channel and just stopped it when he was at specific spots. So after the cab block, he has a compressor block, which he says gives the amp a little bit more real life vintage type of tube rectifier sag. And I would tend to agree with that. I played my setup here for probably a couple hours this morning, and it sounds pretty convincing to me. And then after the compressor block, he actually has an EQ block, which is based on a low-high cut. It's always on. I sort of played around with it a little bit, for my own taste, my own ears. Also, Dav used a ping pong delay, which I just sort of looked at his settings and copied them as best I could. And it does sound pretty nice. It's on all the time as well. It doesn't come off. You can obviously probably set. I'm hoping. I'm not sure if you can do tap tempo with these yet. But I know that Neural DSP is working on getting the tap tempo for a lot more of the stuff, such as vibrato and tremolo. which is going to be a nice welcome. And then after that, he has a hall reverb that was put on there. Now, Gary Moore didn't really use reverb. Maybe he used it in the studios, but most of the places where he played were medium to large size halls. So this is actually, as you can see, a hall reverb. And it does mimic that sound really nicely. Most of the videos you see of Gary Moore playing now, they're all live. You can play some of the songs off his albums and albums off of YouTube. But the stuff I like watching with Gary Moore is his live stuff. And it does get that natural hall reverb when he's in a big room. And it just sounds great. So, anyways, this is how I have it set up. But I'm going to give you a quick playthrough with it. I'm using my Eric Johnson thin line Stratocaster. It's totally stock. The house that I'm in is built in 1957, so the wiring needs to be upgraded. There's some grounding issues and stuff every now and then. So sometimes you'll hear a little bit of a buzz every now and then. But I just live with it because hey, that's all I got. Anyways, this is what the GTN 45 sounds with no pedals. So I actually have a couple different pedals put in there, but I'll show them to you as we go on. And that's pretty clean. I switch between 2 and 4 position on my Strat, and it's a nice sweet sound. And even when I do some chords, and there's that grounding issue I was telling you about. With the volume backed off on the guitar, there's about 7. Sort of fading in a little bit. And it fades in really nice with a nice, smooth, creamy sound. So I'm going to switch over to the Soldano side. Probably a bit more hiss just because of the nature of the preamp and the Soldano, and with my grounding issues in my house. And again, it cleans up pretty nice. That's in position 2. So that's the neck pickup. Sorry, that's the bridge pickup and the middle pickup. And I'll go up position 4, which is the neck and the middle. And I'll swallow in a bit of volume. Sounds pretty cool. And so I know Gary Moore, he used 2 basic overdrive pedals, which he used a TS10, which is like an older, it's a version of a TS808 or TS9, Ibanez, whatever they would, you know, they had a bunch of different versions, and he seemed to use a TS10. And unfortunately, Neural doesn't have a copy of that, but they do have a copy of the original Ibanez 808, TS9. So I have it set up basically the same way that Dab set his EQ up. I just basically copied what he did. And it's a nice sounding, smooth overdrive. It doesn't really add a lot of noise. Just maybe a bit more of a clean boost, I would think, with maybe a little bit of hair to it. The other one is what Gary Murray used to like to use, was the Marshall Guv'nor, because that's what Jim Marshall, that was his nickname. So they called the pedal after the founder of Marshall, the Guv'nor, his nickname. This pedal itself has a bit more EQing options, and so I played around a little bit with that, and it also has even more hair, and it has a bit more hiss to the sound, but it has a lot of, like I said, a lot more hair behind it, and I like it. You know, I tried to put a noise gate in, but I just don't like noise gates no matter what. You know, they just cut off the note too much. I guess it'd be okay if you're going to be playing metal, and really choppy metal, but you know, for playing stuff where you do a lot of smoother legato stuff, I don't like a noise gate because it just cuts off the note when you really want it at the right time. So me, I also put in a wah pedal. I used Neural's Budda wah, which I own one. I use my Budda all the time with my amps, when my performing amps, when I'm recording. You know, so here's my Budda wah. There it is, upside down. Woohoo! I've had that pedal for probably 20 years, but it's my favorite wah pedal of all time. There's some other great wahs out there, and like the Dunlop CAE pedal, you know, with the two inductors. I really like that pedal too, but my Budda wah is my favorite. I love it, and I like fuzzes. I've always liked fuzzes, and that's one of the things that, you know, that really sort of irritated me about, and sort of held me off about getting a Quad Cortex, is they didn't have a lot of fuzzes put in. I guess they're pretty hard to model or hard to capture. You have to capture in a certain way, but they have a really nice model of a fuzz face, and I've set it up, you know, fairly, you know, it's a sort of mid-gain, and set up for my single coil guitars. And right now it's set on you know, a foot switch, and I really like the sound of this fuzz with this preset I have. It works out really good, you know, especially with a little bit of delay. It's very almost a little bit Eric Johnson-y to a point. You know, when it kicks in, it's a little bit woolly and a little bit, but not really over the top. But anyways, I'll go through a few of these things really quickly just to show you how they're doing. I'll do it on the JTM 45, just so you can hear it with a little bit of a. And position 2, which is the middle and the bridge. And this is how the wah would sound. Right now, my expression pedal is not hooked up because I'm waiting on some TRS cables, but I'm going to have my wah hooked up to the expression pedal. So that sounds nice and throaty. Sounds just like a wah should, a half-cocked wah. But anyways, I just put it in there because I wanted to put it in. Now, I'll put in the TS808, okay? I'll give us a little bit of a whirl. Sounds pretty neat. Sounds pretty good. I like it. So now the Guv'nor. As you can hear, there's a bit more hiss to it. Because, you know, you get something for that hiss. You get a bit more hair and a bit more balls behind things. So I'm here ripping with a band, no one's going to hear any of that hiss. Now I'll jam in the fuzz, and this is I really kind of enjoy it. And I will put some in with the Soldano. A lot more hiss there. This Soldano is a bit more of a hissy preamp. So there's the Soldano with the fuzz. Cleaned up. That's about 3 on the Strat. There's still a bit of hiss in the background, but and I'll switch it back over to the JTM 45. Someone just came home. But I can't wait to try this preset out in a band situation. I think it's going to work out pretty good. You know, it's set up in the stomp mode. I've got my three overdrives, well, 2 overdrives and the fuzz. 2 different amps with 2 different gain structures, you know, for my clean and my crunch. You know, the ping pong delay is you know, adds a nice ambience to it, and the whole reverb, it fills it out really well. It does react to me like one of my good amps, and I'm looking forward to get my expression pedal working as well. It's gonna be fun. But hopefully you see that, you know, that Quad Cortex, even though I've only had it for like a week, you can still make some pretty decent patches right out of the box, and just by farting around with stuff. It really didn't take me that long to put this one together. And anyways, that's what I got. Hope everyone has a wonderful day, and we'll see you later.